video, we're going to talk more about what it really takes to succeed in any of these apprenticeship courses. They're a little bit different than they used to be, so some of you who have taken them before will need to really kind of learn what's expected and what to expect through it. Those of you who have taken Lineworker 1A, it's the first time in, it's all new to you anyway, but this will help everybody out. Understand it. If you don't understand it still after going through the workbook, after seeing the video, talk to other people in your class, talk to your instructors. There's a lot of people out there. Talk to the guys at work. There's a lot of people there. Now that we understand how to use Canvas, how do we start participating in this course? What do we have to do next? Well, anytime you log into Canvas, you're always going to be brought to this home page for your particular course. Now you can click on this banner if it's the very first. Now in any one of these modules, remember you always have to do all these pages in sequence. You can't just skip into one in the middle. You have to take the introduction first. You have to read that. You have to go on to the next one, and so on and so forth. We're going to skip ahead to Module 3. And of course, you come right in, you go to the introduction page first. You go in, you read the module objectives, understand what's going on, hit the next button. Now we get to the main content page. This is where things get a little more detailed. You've got a couple things here. You've got the topics that are going to be covered, which is really just restating what we just read in the introduction page. You have a link to the student handbook, and you've got the video content for this module. And we're going to start with this table of contents right here. Now you can see how this student workbook is broken up into segments. The videos are going to be broken up the same way. So a really good way to go through this, and everybody learn, each one of these videos is broken up into segments, and so is the student workbook, so you can follow along pretty closely. At the beginning of each segment, they'll give you a screen like this, tells you what segment it is, what the title of that segment is, and you can go to the student workbook and find that same segment. So it's a good idea to watch one segment of the video, read that same segment in the workbook, do the questions at the end. Now the last stop before the quiz is going to be the review page. So let's take a look at that real quick. We're in our module view right here. I'm just going to go to that review page. And here we are. We know we're in the right review page because we've got the right title up here. Again, we're going to remind ourselves what we should have learned in this module so far. And then we're going to have the answers to the workbook. Well, if I go to my review, I see, well, yeah, I was right. That is true. So you can go through here, check all your answers, make sure you get them right, make sure you understand the questions, and not just that you can write down this correct answer in your workbook if you've printed it out, or in your notebook, or in your notes, or wherever you've decided to write things down. It's important you understand these, because the next step we're going to do is taking the quiz. Now that you've gone through this module, it's time to take the quiz. Before we take the quiz, though, there's a couple things we want to talk about. Each quiz is going to have a due date. Now, this is going to be a pretty hard due date. Unless there's something really serious going on and you've already talked with your instructor, you're not going to be able to submit one of these quizzes or even take these quizzes after these due dates. Each quiz is going to be worth 20 points. Each quiz is going to have 20 questions. That can be pretty standard with all our apprenticeship classes. And you're going to have this availability date. Now, along with the module is going to be unlocked or available for you to start looking at and going through the material at a certain date. The modules, however, will stay unlocked. You'll always be able to get back into them, but these quizzes will lock back up at the due date. You can take as much time as you want to take these quizzes, and you can take them as many times as you want, and we're only going to keep the highest score that you get. So it's not going to be an average of all the scores you get from taking the quiz. It'll just be the very highest. So now that we've got those things out of the way, let's go ahead and hit our... Now again, we've talked about these a little bit before. This is just a typical multiple choice question. There's just going to be one answer because there's just a round circle. If this was a question that had multiple choices but had multiple answers, these would be boxes instead of circles. And again, sometimes you have the true-false questions, which we're all pretty familiar with. If you ever have any questions about any of these quizzes, feel free to go ahead and ask one of your instructors or send an email to instructor. These quizzes should be your own work. These aren't to do in groups. You should be doing it by yourself. You can, however, use all the materials you have in this course to answer these questions, but make sure you answer them yourself.
In this program, we'll show you the basic equipment necessary for climbing, how to determine its proper fit, and help to keep it in position. To the climbers from slipping and makes it more comfortable to work on a pole. By following these 3 simple rules, you can prevent accidents and ensure safe and comfortable climbing. Let's look at how to correctly mount the buck squeeze safety strap on a climber's body belt.
Alternating current, and they all depend on you to keep them in good working order.
We're going to look at these 2 particles to see where they're located and what kind of charge they have.
Those of us in the transmission and distribution field enjoy an excellent record for safety on the job. In order to plan a job properly, you need to know the right questions to ask.